Yes. Yes. Hey y'all, it's Amber. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Whether you're a first time visitor, returning viewer, subscriber, welcome. I'm happy to have you. As you can see, I am joined here by my extraordinary baby boy. He is joining us for now. If you are watching this video, then that means I have resigned my position from teaching. So if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so. Make sure you turn on those notifications so you can be notified every single time I make an upload. With that being said, let's get into it. So I resigned from my job 3 weeks ago. I put in my 2-week notice. Last year was tremendously difficult for several reasons. One, I had a very high-risk pregnancy on top of being in a brand new school that had just opened. It was its first year. I was a founding teacher, and we received students from various parts of the city of Houston. We had a lot of students that were last year as second graders. Some had never been in a school setting before. Some were performing at a kindergarten level, some were performing at a first grade level, and we had a very few students that were actually performing on grade level. So it is difficult to close gaps on a regular year. You're asking a teacher in a matter of 8 months to close 2 years of academic and instructional gap. Not impossible, but very difficult. And that was difficult for me to do because I was going to be leaving for a good chunk of the second semester on maternity leave. Fast forward, I come back to chaos and foolishness, y'all. Rumors had been spread around the school that I had quit. Rumors had spread that I would no longer be a teacher, but instead I would be a coach. Rumors had spread that I was gonna come back, but things would be different, and it was just a lot of chaos for me to come back to. I came back to school. The principal was removed that Friday. I came to school on Wednesday. The principal was going by Friday. Whiplash, because what did I miss? So not only am I being bombarded with all of these rumors about me that were being spread, but then I had to deal with a transition of admin, and they let us know that they would be having representatives from our district office that were going to be on campus assisting, helping out. We had the head of schools, which is basically the manager of several campuses. She was going to be serving as our interim principal, and she didn't really have very nice things to say about me. Some of the things that she shared just on a couple of interactions with me, very brief interactions. Hi, good morning, how are you? Great. I'm sitting down at my desk. I am on pelvic rest. I started the year right after having an emergency appendectomy, so I was on pelvic rest. Not only for the surgery, but also because of my high-risk pregnancy. I needed to keep myself nice and calm. I needed to sit. I needed to rest myself, allow my body to heal and relax. And they just wanted me to do all of the things, right? I was teaching reading. My co-planner was teaching math, science, and social studies. And so we just stayed in our lanes, right? But they wanted us to be on our feet teaching all day, every day. So during reading, they wanted her up and moving around the classroom. That's not necessary. That's what you have me for. While she was teaching math, they wanted me up and around the classroom. We had teacher's assistants. We had the SPED teacher that was pushing in. We had the reading intervention teacher that was pushing in. Why do we need so many adults for so few kids? When I left on my maternity leave, we had 29 students. When I got back, we were down to like 19. Where did the kids go? Fast forward, the campus is just pure chaos, pure stress. It was hell for me to go to. I was dealing with a lot on top of postpartum. I'm dealing with such stressful situations. So my husband and I were talking over the summertime, and we allowed the summer to be the break that I needed. I was planning on coming back for a new year, hopefully giving it a chance. I knew that I wasn't going to make it past the first semester, but I was going to really give it my best effort. We got back to school, in-service was cool, everything seemed fine, and then we had an issue with a parent. A student asked to go to the nurse, and I asked him. He was just like, I don't feel good. Okay, well, can you be more specific? Like, what do you mean you don't feel good? I don't understand what that means. I could see that the kid was visibly frustrated with the amount of work that he had to do. And I realized and understood, just because I have been doing this for the last 7.5, 8 years, I recognize when a kid is getting overwhelmed with the work and is just trying to avoid the work. He's an avoidant. I understood that. So I asked him, like, what exactly is the problem? Oh, my stomach hurts and my head hurts. And he just starts crying. I tell him, go to the restroom, get you some water, take care of yourself, wash your face, get yourself together, and then come back. He came back. I still don't feel good. Okay, well, let me message the nurse, because we have received training that we should not just send kids down to the nurse's office. She told us there are various things that we can do in class to try to mitigate sending a whole bunch of students down to the nurse's office. These are elementary kids. So, of course, when I don't want to do anything, when I'm tired, when I'm hungry, I want to go to the nurse. So I tried this. It didn't work. He told me he's still not feeling good. So I told him he could stop doing the work, put your head down, rest and relax. It was like 5 minutes until lunchtime. So I told him if he still wasn't feeling well after lunch, to let me know. We can, send him to the nurse's office. He went to lunch. He was just fine. He went across the hall to another teacher's classroom. Long story short, and I'm going to put it up. A mom sent me a very nice, nasty message. Very ugly, actually. It wasn't even nice, nasty. It was very ugly. And just basically went back and forth with me. You got the wrong mama if you think I'm going to let this go. And just really, really coming sideways. I explained to the mom what happened. I didn't tell her kid, what do you want me to do about it? I told her all of the things that I did. He went to recess. He was just fine. She has the audacity to respond to me, you're not a healthcare profession, so if a kid says that they're not feeling good, then you should take it at their word that they're not feeling good. All right, now you're just being ignorant, and now you're being a bitch. So instead of meeting you and matching your ignorant level, sorry, baby. Instead of me meeting you where you are and matching your energy level, which I very well can do, because I am that teacher that will match a parent's energy, I decided, you know what? It's not worth my peace. It's not worth the aggravation. You can deal with my principal. I sent my principal the screenshots, told her she can deal with it. Let her know I'm not going to be dealing with that. The kid comes back the next day. Can I go to the nurse's office? I sent him to the nurse. He comes back to class just fine. Still not feeling well. Okay, whatever. Can I go back to the nurse's office? We're not finna keep doing that. Every time you come to class, all of a sudden you need to go to the nurse's office. School hasn't even started, y'all. We haven't even had morning announcements and the boy comes in crying, asking to go to the nurse's office. So at this point, I told my principal, like, this is really frustrating. You're giving it to the demands of the parents. You're asking me to send this little boy to the nurse's office every day. He's not sick. If he's sick, you as the parent, hello, professional parent, you should know if your kid is not feeling well, keep them at home. Don't bring them to school. It's that simple. Anyway, so I told her, I'm like, listen, y'all can go ahead and cover my class because I'm not finna keep dealing with this. Get a handle on this parent. Get a handle on this student. You can talk to him. You can deal with it. Cover my class. I'm going home. And I left. And at this point, I already knew that I was about to put in my 2 weeks. I hadn't said anything to anybody. I was just waiting on the right time for me to decide when I wanted to put my 2 weeks in. Mind y'all, this is the first week of school, and I'm already going at it with a parent. First week of school. We haven't even made it through the entire first week yet, and the parent is already being problematic. The principal comes to me, hey, I spoke with this parent. I let her know that we don't just send kids to the nurse's office, and we tend to, as professionals, we know when a kid is just trying to avoid work and this, that, and the third. Principal is really hyping me up, telling me she's on my side, telling me she told the parent, this is what it is, this is what it's going to be. But then she turns around and sends the parent an email, blind copies me on it, and was just like, hey, anytime your child asks to go to the nurse, we're going to send him. I've talked to the teacher. She understands that this is what the policy is going to be. She understands that as soon as he asks, he needs to go to the nurse. That's not the conversation that me and you just had. So now you're throwing me under the bus to this parent. You're giving it to this parent for the demand of one student. I have a class of over 30 kids. I don't have time to coddle one kid because of this mom. I'm not kissing this mom's ass. I'm not kissing your ass as the principal. Like, I don't care who you are. You're going to come at me with respect. And if you can't be respectful, you're not going to get respect in return. It's that simple. You don't have to earn respect from me. I've never been that person. Oh, you have to earn my respect. No, you don't. I give it to you freely. It's yours to lose. And if you lose it, that's your business and that's your problem and that's your prerogative. I guess I'm rocking him to sleep. Fast forward, I am really pissed off that my principal has thrown me under the bus at this point. And I say, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. I decide to put in my 2-week notice. That incident is not the exact reason why I decided to resign. Like I said, I came into the school year already knowing that I wasn't going to finish the year, but I was going to try to at least make it through the first quarter. My school is very unorganized, or my former school is very unorganized. I came from a campus that was fully grown, fully established. It's one of the best performance campuses in the district. So I came from a high standard of achievement. I came from a high standard of expectations from teachers. I came from a high standard of accountability for administrators, and just just all of these things. And so I came into this brand new campus, this brand new year with a brand new principal, because the last one, I don't even have all day to tell you. It's just the drama and mess from the previous year. So despite the fact that I had a stressful first year at that campus, I decided that I was going to really give it forth effort. Couldn't even make it past the first 2 weeks, y'all. So I put in my notice, and the principal comes up to me, oh, you know, I hope you're not quitting because of this parent. Ma'am, I have a son with special needs. I have a lot going on. He's still recovering from heart surgery at this point. I'm dealing with postpartum depression, like actively battling postpartum depression. I have a lot going on. It's a lot of transitions. My husband has a new position that requires these weird and crazy hours, and it's just a lot happening in my lifetime, and it's too much for me to handle. And if I have to let go of any of those things, this job is gone. And the last 2 weeks were very difficult. I ended up only doing a half a day on my last day because they had just really worked all of my last nerve. The little boy didn't even come back to my class. He just stayed in the math class all day. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. I mean, I gave him zeros because he did no work. And I don't really fault the little boy. I fault his parent. Like, his mom is just a whack parent to me, because you're not enabling discipline in your son. Your son can go and play baseball. He went to school, y'all. He at recess playing just fine. After school program at the school, just fine. Went to baseball afterwards, just fine. Your son is not sick. You enable this poor behavior of avoidance, and it's not helpful to him. And good luck to the next teacher. I'm just strong enough, and I know who I am, that I really was not fearful of who this lady is and what she was talking about. I also know what documentation looks like. I also keep a paper trail, which is why before she even threatened to go up the chain of command, I had already notified my AP and my principal and sent them the screenshots of the message. And so, like, you're doing nothing for me. You're doing nothing for me. And again, in the back of my mind, I know I'm about to quit anyway. So your complaint really does nothing for me either. So just the lack of admin and support, the messiness of this campus, like I said, coming back from maternity leave to rumors about me, like, it's very childish, chaotic energy. The students are not high performing at all, and I'm willing to work with that. I'm used to students that are not on grade level, and I'm used to closing those gaps. But y'all don't even provide me the materials and the space and the things that I need. Y'all, I didn't have a dot cam. I didn't have anchor chart paper. They brought me anchor chart paper with no markers. What if I didn't have any markers myself? I'm printing everything that is decorations I'm paying for. Things, knowing that I'm leaving, y'all. I pay for all of these things out of pocket. Why? Because I care. Because that's something that's important to me. It's just a slap in the face when I'm providing all of these things that should be a given from the school, and then I'm being met with nasty attitudes. I'm being met with incompetence. I'm being met with being thrown under the bus and given into the demands of one parent, as opposed to focusing on what you laughing at, the bigger picture. So in the grand scheme of things, I would prefer not to deal with that stress, and I would prefer to just be at home with my son and work part-time or do something different. I am just done with the field of education for now. I am done. Maybe I will go back next school year. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But y'all, I genuinely cannot take anymore. It has been wonderful. I have been super busy since my last day. It hasn't even been a full week. By the time you watch this video, it will be a week since my last day at work. But I'm enjoying this time with my baby. He's still getting to go to my mom's house. He's still going to my mother-in-law's house. He still, you know, has his schedule and routines of like going out. And I have my schedule. I'm finding a happy common ground for him. We're introducing him to solid foods. We're doing occupational therapy now. We're doing the developmental therapy through early childhood intervention services. So there are a lot of things that's going on. He still has cardiology that he's going to be dealing with pretty much for the rest of his life. He's going to be a cardiac patient, you know. So there's a lot going on, and in grand scheme of things, if I'm going to stress about something, I'm going to stress about something that really has the greatest impact in my life, and that's my son and my family. And being an educator is not for the faint at heart. It's a lot of people that get into the field of education chasing a check and appreciating the holidays off, like not really caring whether students learn. And it just makes it difficult for those of us that are actually passionate about education, because we're having to close the gaps. We're having to deal with the recklessness of teachers who entered the profession not really caring about being a teacher, or not really caring about being an effective teacher. And so it just makes life really hard, and I'm tired of that. I've been dealing with that. Y'all have seen my burnout on this channel. Like, I've been dealing with burnout for years now at this point, years, and I just can't take it anymore. So I'd rather pursue other avenues of creativity. I would like to do something where I'm able to exercise my creativity. I have a few things in mind of what I would like to do. I just trust that everything will happen in divine timing as it needs to, that things are going to work themselves out. I'm good. I do have a cushion nest egg to hold myself over for quite a while. You know, I just have to be mindful about not buying all of these books. And I'm just gonna soak up this time that I have being at home with my baby boy for as long as I can. When I go back to work, I don't know what I'll be going back to work to. I'm not sure yet either. But I do know that I am done with education for now, with the exception of the education of my son. Because if I'm going to stress about somebody learning, it's going to be the one that I gave birth to and the one that I'm responsible for. And it's just not fair to my husband, to my son, to my family, for me to take all of my frustrations out on them from what I'm dealing with at work. Again, I choose to put myself first and foremost. That school really did a number on my mental health. Like I said, not only am I dealing with postpartum depression and things like that, but I also was clinically diagnosed with anxiety and depression years ago, before even dealing with this school. And it's just really been a lot to handle. It's been a lot on me mentally, and mentally I was becoming very unwell. And that's not where I want to be in life. I can't give my best to my son. I can't give my best to my marriage and my relationship. I can't give my best to my family, my friends, if I'm not a good me. And I haven't been a good me in a while, and I'm getting there. I'm rediscovering who I am as a mom, because I'm not the same woman that I was even this time last year. You know, I started changing during my pregnancy, but I have definitely changed since I had my son. And there are just some things that I don't care about, like a parent complaint, whatever. But lack of administrative support, that's a big deal to me. And that's not something that I'm willing to work through. That's not something that I'm willing to put up with, because I've always had strong admin. I've always had admin that were not willing to throw teachers under the bus for the benefit of the parent. I had admin that were willing to collaborate and find common ground and get clear understanding of, this is what school policy is. This is what we're going to stick to. We understand that you like to do things differently at home, but this is how it's done here. And I wasn't able to get that from my school. I wasn't able to get a stress-free environment. I wasn't able to really spend time focusing on how to get my students to grow, because it was just so much drama and chaos and pettiness. And I could really film a video in itself about the drama just by itself. I can't be bothered. I can't get that energy. So I do have an idea to share a video about like my teaching journey and experience. So I am going to share a video sometime soon that sit down and details like my experience as a teacher, the differences between teaching primary and secondary, and more specifically the difference between teaching middle school and high school. I have a real vast experience, and I'm really excited to sit down and film that video, because education is not all bad. I mean, there are a lot of things happening at the state level. There are a lot of things happening at the national level, and I'm not here to make this a political conversation, but what I am here to do is share my experience. Yeah. And if it resonates with someone, great. And that's really what my goal is. So I've resigned, I quit, and I don't really know what's next, but I do know that I'm going to be focusing on my son. I'm going to be focusing on making my house a home. We are hopefully gonna start the home buying process sometime soon. We just have to sit down and figure out what is financially comfortable for us, what part of town we would like to be in. Do we want to be in the suburbs of Houston? Do we want to be in the city limits? Obviously, if you're living within the city, then things are more expensive. You get less house for more money. And there are just a lot of things that we have to consider. We have a son now, so we also have to consider school districts. proximity to family and caregivers, then there's just a lot of things that we have to consider. That's it for today's video. I just wanted to share about my experience of why I resigned from teaching. It is about to be my son's nap time, so I'm going to wear him out, let him play. We're going to play together and get this nap in so I can rest my nerves. I'm getting a headache, so I want to relax myself for a little bit. And I thank you for sharing this journey with me. If you haven't already subscribed again, make sure you do so to figure out or follow along with what life is like after this. And with that being said, I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye. Yeah. You pulled out my hair. Ah! He laughs. Bye, y'all.